What's good, guys? You're back with Vivz and Banks for another episode of the Vivz and Banks podcast, man. Today, we usually talk about Afro beats and all surrounding genres. You already know how it goes, but today we're taking a little bit of a detour. Just a little bit, because we've got a very special guest in the building. And I feel like he deserves a very special intro. Not that the other guests don't, but...
no, they don't.
Yeah.
Let's not lie.
The man on my left is a personal inspiration to me. I haven't told him that yet, but we're getting to it. As a YouTuber, obviously, you guys know. But yeah, he's a big inspiration. I feel like I'm amazed by your hustle and the way that he keeps the story going, how he tells it, the motivation behind every video. I just love your content. So I'm very, very interested to talk to him today. And let's give a big special welcome to Tayo Aina.
Oh man, I feel bad for the other guys, man. They're watching this going, that's life.
Yeah,
man.
why didn't she do that for me?
First of all, before we go anywhere, I believe in accountability. Shout out to Tayo. You got here before me. I believe in people being real and honest. That's how the world should be. But I know it's going to be difficult for everyone to do it. But yeah, I was running late. Even though it's not my fault, it doesn't matter. I was involved in it. I take accountability.
He's naming and shaming himself.
Tayo, please forgive me.
The thing is, we're used to artists and they come about 3 hours late. So
yeah, I'm here. I will be here early making videos, just in general, like just messing about. Like, yeah, I'm here early. Today, God was like, I'll show you a trick.
Tayo, man, it's good to have you.
Thanks for having me. Yeah.
Of course.
What's happening? What's happening today?
What's happening today? Not much, I was just looking forward to this. I have so many questions to ask you.
And also, I don't want it to, again, I don't believe in interviews.
Yeah.
I believe in having a chat with, I won't go as far as say friends or mates, but just like someone you met in the coffee shop and just chatting and there's a camera next to you, accidental camera.
Yeah, that's the, I think that's the
vibe
best
anyways.
way to.
Yeah, all of
to
this
get
question
stuff out,
answer
actually.
stuff is, I don't know, for me anyway. But
Yeah.
But yeah, man, you're here.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm chilled. I'm cold. I was cold when I was outside. I'm better now.
You're better now.
Yeah.
So before the podcast, you actually mentioned that you live in Portugal.
Like you mean now?
Yeah, at the moment.
Yeah, I live in Portugal now.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah. I was surprised about that. I don't know why.
Yeah, I just moved actually last year.
Oh,
Like
okay.
like I understand last year, so it's not even up to a year yet.
Is it a good place to live in?
It's amazing.
Amazing. Oh, okay.
But
Lisbon?
Yeah, Lisbon.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah,
Oh,
come
nice.
on. That was a good one. Yeah, I'm quite interested because obviously for whoever doesn't know, or if you do know, Tayo travels the world, documents his experiences, and he does a whole bunch of other content as well, but a lot of it is traveling. And for somebody who travels all the time, to pick somewhere to live, it's like you've seen all these different countries and you've selected one to call your home.
Yeah, at least for now.
Maybe
For
there's
now.
maybe
true.
there's a reason.
Well, that's exactly what I'm getting to. I wanted to ask why Portugal
significant.
out of all.
So I've been living. I've literally lived in Nigeria like all my life,
Yeah.
and one of the issues I've had with living in Nigeria is like the location. So especially for somebody who travels a lot, Nigeria is kind of like it's West Africa, and then for you to get to anywhere, you have to first fly to like Europe, then fly to wherever you're going to. So I was like, okay, like what if I could just live in Europe? Europe is very central in terms of like the world. So I was like, okay, location wise, so location was one. Two, I was looking for somewhere that had good weather, so London was not an option.
I don't blame you, man.
Shots fired, guys.
Good for you.
Shots,
Good for you.
unnecessary stray bullets. Yeah, we're just minding our business. We'll be back.
So London was not an
It's not
option,
an option.
and
I
that
like
was
that.
two. And then I think the first time I went to Portugal, I just loved the experience, and like I didn't feel it was very welcoming. So even the people there were very welcoming. Like, many times one of the reasons why like black people or Africans don't want to go to places is because of like racism and stuff like that. When I went there the first time, it was like everybody was so welcoming to me. Like the white guys, they were like, there was even rain was falling that day. There was a day when I got there, rain was falling. I went to a restaurant, and then like there was a guy who probably owned the restaurant. We're standing in front of. So like imagine rain is falling outside, and we just kind of like stayed under the shed of the the outdoor whatever of the restaurant, and the guy was like, "Oh, why are you guys standing there?" He didn't even speak English, but it's like, "Oh, come in, like don't stand in the rain." And like I was like, "Oh wow, like that's so interesting." So all of that just made me like just like feel very like welcome in the country, and so far it has been amazing.
Interesting.
So those were some of the major reasons actually, and there's still more, but let me leave it for now.
Fair enough. That's interesting.
For me anyway, like I said again, I was there when obviously in terms of watching you and stuff like that from the start. So I know when everything was just centered around making videos in Nigeria. You had at that point. Obviously, you had your plans of moving out. Of course, as things.
I didn't have
progressed.
plans then, actually.
Oh, is it? Oh, well.
I didn't have plans. I think when I look at my journey, I'm just like I don't. Another thing about me, I don't think too far ahead. So I'm just
day by day.
Yeah, I'm just trying to focus on the present. How much, what can I do? How can I make things happen just in the present? And then I know that eventually, like, it will lead me somewhere down the line. So there was no plan of like leaving Nigeria then. I knew that one day, I've always dreamt of like, okay, like, I just knew that the life in Nigeria was not the kind of life I wanted to live. Because for me, and this is no shit to Nigeria, like, it's Nigeria at the end of the day, it's my country. But it's like, there's so many things I want to do. Like a simple thing, I just waking up and walking to the park. Like I can't do that in Lagos. Where do you do that? You have to drive everywhere. So that kind of life, I'm just thinking about different things that you want to do. Let's say, for example, I'm like, so this year I skied for the first time. I've never gone skiing before. Where do I want to do it?
That's true.
So I skied for the first time. I started to do something. I surfed for the first time too. So like those kind of activities that I'm like, okay, I always see people on TV doing them, and I'm like, oh, one day I want to do this, but I never had the opportunity. But like, thank God it's not too late, so I'm doing them now.
Yeah, and that's for the reason why I even brought that up is the fact that just to see someone's journey and the trajectory is just amazing. Also, there was one time when there was this whole thing about your accent and they couldn't get past it. I was watching it and I was like, I'm fine. But then I realized something. People do this disclaimer, no shade to Nigeria, I don't care. I genuinely don't care.
Yeah, it's cool.
We
I
have
like that.
inferiority complex.
Yeah, we do.
I'll be honest with you, there's a lot of people I want to invite to a podcast, but I know that because I'm black like them, there's no chance. They probably would just, whatever. But they don't understand that. Actually, I'm not trying to make myself, I'm not an arrogant person. If you know me, I don't care about these things. But I'm really good at what I do. Like, I can make things look calm and look... Well, because of my color, and the person is looking for a way to sort of branch out to the Western world, and they forget. And that's why I'm taking from your story the fact that you didn't just go, all right, okay, you know what? I'm gonna make a video and I'm gonna sound like this. I'm gonna put a fake accent on. For me, that was really endearing. So just to see, so I'm not surprised you're at this stage now. I'll be honest with you. The same people, they're so real and honest. All you can see for them is the next level, the next level, the next level. Do you know what I mean? Because there's a lot of people that started maybe saw you doing your thing and saw that the whole, I'll call it quote unquote backlash about your accent, which is dumb. He's a Nigerian. How should he sound?
I have no idea.
Do you know what I mean? I remember that time I was even, this is long time ago, I was even breaking it down to my mom. Like, because she was like, Mulai boy, going. And I was not then that year I was
Shout
like,
out to your mom.
yeah, and I was just like, oh yeah, he said good stuff. In my mind I was just like, yeah, then just seeing you move from that stage to the other stage, it's amazing, man. And man, it's great. It's great to see. So for me, it's inspiring, to be honest.
How was that experience for you then? Like living through it?
So me, I think that was the first time I kind of like went viral on Twitter, and like people were just talking. I was like, oh shit! I just woke up. I'm like, oh, I'm trending. Like people are talking about me. I'm like, oh, interesting. So for me, it was interesting because, and I tried to look at it as an opportunity as opposed to like, oh, like, because I'm like, oh, like the whole of Nigeria is talking about me on Twitter. I'm like, oh wow, that's like I've never had that amount of like whatever before. So the thing about it in terms of like the negative part, I think it was a new experience for me, but I'm the kind of person where it's like, if I'm my biggest critic, so it's hard for you to criticize me more than myself.
Oh, wow.
So it's just like, for example, people, especially guys, are always like, oh, guys that lose their hair, they're like, oh, I'm getting bowed, or like they use it as an insult. So I'm getting bowed, but I'm like, oh, no hair. That's less time at the barber.
Good, I like that.
I save my money.
So I don't really care. So it's hard for you to say something to me, especially when it's not true or when it doesn't really matter. and then for it to affect me. So when they were like, "Oh, you're accent," I'm like, "Oh, that's how I talk." Some people were even like, "Oh, go and hire a voiceover artist."
yeah.
I'm like, it's YouTube. Like, how will I hire a voiceover artist for my own videos? Like, and the video, what happened was actually, I didn't even post the video on Twitter. Somebody took my video from YouTube and posted it on Twitter,
I
Of
remember.
and
course.
then they were like, blah 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 blah.
So
But
the problem was that they didn't like your accent.
yeah, they said the way I was talking like
Yeah,
a local man.
We suffer from. It's still the
That's crazy,
the average
man. That's
person
crazy.
over there, especially just not just in
Yeah.
Nigeria. We're carrying this trauma that we
Yeah.
need to deal with, where
Yeah.
we worship anything foreign. Like again, it's just sad. But when I saw that stuff, I was baffled.
Yeah.
I was so baffled. I was like, "What?
Yeah.
I don't get it."
I think there's a word for it. It's just like mental slavery. That's
It's
what
mental
it is.
slavery. I know. That's what I'm saying. It's
literally
a
what it
trauma
is.
because we've gone past the physical shackles and stuff. It's just this mental trauma
Yeah.
where I know a lot of good, like amazing people that look like me. That's what they do. They don't get the shine, all because it's a shame though. But I'm just happy though. You're out of that. I'm never gonna lie. For me,
The
I'm
interesting
just
thing
happy,
about
man.
that was also one of the best things that came out of that too was also when that thing started, I was at 2,000 followers on Twitter. Like when it ended, I gained like 10,000, almost 10,000. I think I was like 11K or 12K after I started. I was like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, more
This
of
is cool. More of this.
Yeah, more of
Maybe I'll get
this.
to like
More of this.
50K very soon. You
Actually-
guys should come.
Talking about that, right? It's like that first feeling of being viral and like getting numbers. I think we've all kind of experienced that feeling of like, oh wow, my thing is like blowing up.
Yeah.
I haven't though.
Bro, you have. Let's
No, I
not lie.
haven't. No, I
Let's not
haven't.
lie.
I'm not.
He's too.
too
Whatever.
I'm just
Yeah,
saying.
whatever.
All right,
whatever.
cool. Carry on.
That feeling of like, oh, okay, wow.
Yeah.
Like, do you? Because you've been doing it for so long.
Yeah.
What year did you start YouTube?
So I posted my first video 2017, but officially when I would say I actually started taking YouTube seriously was 2019 August.
Wow.
So that was when I was like, okay, I'm gonna take this thing serious. But before then, I was just posting very sporadically, like once in like 2 months, once in like.
The growth is crazy, man. Anyway,
Yeah.
back to what I was saying. No, because 2019 was not that long ago. It
Yeah,
really
it's like-
wasn't. I
it's
started
like-
my channel in 2020, and thinking that you were just a year before is just that's crazy.
Because it was a niche. Well, it is a niche thing to do, especially in Africa. You showing, or should I say, exploring parts of the country that people are scared to go to because of insecurity and all these other fears that naturally people do have back home. So for you to have that platform to showcase all these things and places, of course you're 100% like kudos to you, man. Like some of the travels, like I said, I've watched you from the start, and a lot of the challenges you guys met on the way with your bus breaking down and you guys coming off, and that is crazy, man. So yeah, it's interesting. It's really good growth.
What I
Good,
was
man.
gonna ask is that feeling of going viral. Obviously, you've had many situations like that again since then, and you've blown up into, who you are today. Does that feeling of excitement about milestones still get you, like the numbers?
No,
Yeah, because I have the same feeling.
not as much anymore. Like I'm close to 1 million subscribers now. I think we're like 970K, but I would say the way I felt when I get to 1 million, it's not gonna feel the way I felt when I got to like my first 1K or my first 10K.
Yeah.
Like when I got my first 1K, I was like 1,000 people. Wow.
I was the same.
So yeah. So I think and sometimes when you've done this thing for a very long time, you sometimes forget that it's actually people watching.
Yeah.
So you just see it as numbers. It's like, oh, I dropped a video, you got like 50,000 views or 100,000 views. You're like, oh, 100,000. It's not a lot, but then that's 100,000 people
Yeah.
watching. What's the biggest stadium in London?
Yeah.
Like
That's why this is what we always say. Like a couple of years ago, me and him would talk because, like I told you before, we
Yeah.
both have YouTube channels, and I'll be like, yeah, like 20,000 people. That's like a stadium. That's like the O2.
Yeah.
Or 100K. That's like 5 times the
Yeah,
O2.
O2.
Like when you put it into perspective,
Yeah,
and when we actually go to the O2 and you see the amount of people,
Yeah.
I think it's different.
yeah.
But yeah, just seeing the number, it doesn't really
It
doesn't do anything for
It's
you
like,
emotionally, right?
it doesn't do. But when it started, when I posted the earlier stages, when I was just discovering content creation, was much more exciting than now, because after doing something for a while, you get used to it, and it's just like you're just going through the motions sometimes, as opposed to when everything was new. It's like, podcast mic, what mic is this? What camera is that? Oh, you're just like excited about everything. But it's different now. But we still try to find, excitement in terms of like the everyday things we do at the moment too. And I think it's the same thing for most careers, or most. I don't think. I think probably Wizkid, maybe like those his first albums when he was still trying to make those first songs. It will probably I think it would be a different level of joy as opposed to now, because it's a different thing. And I think every artist always goes through that phase.
Every creative.
Every creative, yeah.
What's that one thing that has really that has drastically changed for you? I'm not talking monetary stuff. I don't do numbers. I don't care. I care about impact. And you're an impactful individual. So, I mean, 20, 30, 50 years from now, someone will be like, oh, T. Some people call you T, obviously. I'm just trying to pretend to be like some random dude. Yeah, some random guy just sitting there going, oh, this is one of the YouTubers in Nigeria, Nigerian YouTuber, blah, 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 all of that. So, of course, that's impact. So, again, we live in a world where people are always going to be conditioned to think a certain way. You have to break free. Like the other day I was saying to her that I now struggle when I go online and I see people getting excited about a song. It baffles me. And I'm not saying people shouldn't, but for me it's like, tomorrow another song will come out and we're going to do that. Do you get it? So I get where you're coming from. So what has drastically changed for you? Like if you were to look back at your journey when you, like you said, officially started, what's really changed for you that you're like, wow? So
changed, when you say change, is it like...
It could be a behavioral thing. It could be
I get what you mean now.
Anything spiritual, whatever has changed.
Mindset,
anything that has changed.
Yeah, I think there are so many things, but I'm just trying to pick. I'm just trying to pick one.
You know.
I think one of the things I've come to realize is that like you've never really made it. Like there's never a making it. There's never a point where you'll be like, oh, I've made it, so let me hang up my shoes or let me just like chill. Like it's a continuous journey till we die, literally. So it's like, and I think there are so many ways to look at that. One of the ways to look at that is also to like enjoy the process of the journey instead of waiting for a specific destination where it's like, oh, I've gotten to the mountaintop. Because when you get to every mountaintop, there's another mountaintop.
Yeah.
And as human beings, if you're somebody who is like, most human beings, like whenever we achieve whatever we put our minds on, where our mind is going to like, okay, what's the next goal? So if you get to 100K, you want to get to 1 million. If you get to 1 million, you want to get to 10 million. And you just keep going on and on and on. So I think for me, it just kind of like, makes me realize that enjoying the present moment and enjoying the journey, whether good or bad things are happening, is actually way more important than waiting for an actual destination to get to.
Nice. So let me get this right though. So what exactly changed for you is your expectations of stuff, right? That's interesting. That's nice. It's just sometimes certain people in certain places, you see how they live, how they talk, how they behave, and that's because I study psychology. So now everything I do, I'm just scoping. That's why I was saying about the whole music excitement. That's like in psychology, that's arousal. So it's just like a level you get to in life, and you're like, okay, you know what? I don't want to care about the numbers now. I want to care about who am I impacting. Because if you wake up one morning and you just see loads of Tayo, baby Tayo, with cameras going around acting like you, that would be more fulfilling than, I don't know, for me.
I get what you mean. And that's why I said, when you said what has changed for me, I'm like, there are so many angles to that question.
Of course, 1,000,000%.
So in terms of like, making an impact, for sure, definitely. I think when I posted my first video, and my first video was actually on Instagram. It wasn't on YouTube. I posted a video on Instagram. I had like 10 views or something. I had like 2 comments. People were like, oh, this is nice. I was like, okay, maybe I should do more of this. And then when I started to make those videos about Lagos and Nigeria, and I started to see that, like people were like, I've never seen Lagos like this before. Oh, I didn't know this existed. Oh, I didn't know. I'll send this to my friend in America. Oh, I have something to show to my friends that say, oh, you people live in huts and stuff. So it now became from there. It became from making videos just because I love them to actually like changing the narrative of Nigeria, and then from there changing the narrative of Africa. And now I'm just like basically the African discovering the world, exploring the world, and sharing stories through my own lens. So for me, it has been the impact. One of the things that has changed has been just instead of focusing on just building the platform and getting numbers, actually making content that actually has an impact, either in the lives of people or maybe that has something that it does, and delivering a feeling to my content. I want when people watch my content, they feel something. Either it's like they feel inspired, or they were more educated, or they were even entertained. But it just pushes them to do something.
Yeah, I like that because same here over the past couple of weeks or months. Even though I haven't started doing it consciously. I've been doing it subconsciously, and someone will maybe make a comment and go, "Wow, I never saw it from this angle." But it's happened so many times now. I can't even keep up. But I just lately with some of the songs, I see a lot of people because what we do is like react to music or talk about music or just in the pop culture. I realized the comments I'm having are the type of comments that I would like to make or leave on someone's thing. So for instance, someone will be like, "Oh yeah, I've watched a lot of videos. Everyone is just nodding their head, but you are telling us something that we didn't even see." I like stuff like that. So that's impact for me.
Yeah.
Do you get it?
Yeah.
Because again, in life, it's all about the impact. It's not the numbers. So it's interesting to hear your perspective on the fact that, okay, cool. Now I'm more like, okay, it's all
People
about the
are
content.
learning.
It's all about the content. It's not the numbers, which is good. And that's why you're growing, because you're not focusing on that. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So which is nice. Which is really,
I
really
think
nice.
like one of the main things I like about your content is like how you tell the stories, and like you said, the emotion that you bring through with it. And I feel like whenever I watch your travel videos specifically, I always have like so many questions. Like, how does he do this thing? Like, how many people are actually behind the camera? Is it really just him? Like, I have so many questions.
Yeah, ask.
One of like the actual questions I really have is because I've done my little documentaries in my own way, obviously not travel related or anything. And I know that you have to like pre-plan quite a few things.
Yeah.
But with traveling, I can imagine it's so much more because, you pick the country. Then I know you usually have like locals that like come into the video, tell their story or like show you around. How do you even make those connections? Like before, I'm guessing you do it before you travel. Or
Nope.
Okay, so you just arrived to a country.
I've done all sorts, but most of my videos are actually spontaneous. Like, for example, if I was trying to make a video on London, I might not know anybody in London, and I might just come into London, and then I'm just like, okay, where's like a busy area here? And I can just go to a busy area and just stop people and ask them questions about London, and have that part, because it's like I can get, and then I can look at different people. Okay, if I've spoken to too many ladies, I'll be like, okay, I need a guy. Oh, if I've spoken to too many black people, I'll be like, okay, I need some white people. So it's balance. And I just do the numbers in my head. So I did a video on Canada recently. I went to Toronto.
I watched that one. Yeah.
And then I went to an area where there was like, it was a market there. And I just saw different people and I was like, oh, yeah, hi, what's up? And I just approached them and it's like, oh, I have a YouTube channel. I want to just ask you guys questions. I'm making a video about Toronto. You guys want to talk about this question? I asked like 1 or 2 questions. And then, so many of the videos are actually just me just going out with my camera and then just capturing my experience, and whatever happens. Sometimes there might be some people, maybe like if I have a friend who lives there, I might be like, okay, come, I need to ask you a question on camera. But most of it is just, I just capture as much stuff, and then eventually the story is now told in the edit. But I have highlights of things I want to touch on for sure.
Yeah, because there might be some areas that are like more dangerous, or countries that are a bit more dangerous maybe. Do you still do the spontaneous thing in those circumstances?
Yes, it depends. So there are so many angles to it. So sometimes, even if a country is dangerous, what I do is I can go into the country and then ask questions. Like, okay, like, I just ask some locals. So what's like the most dangerous place here? Okay, do you know anybody who knows anybody who knows anybody? So there's a video I did where I went into like the kind of like the favelas, the hoods of Dominican Republic, like the most dangerous place. And I went there at night, which even made everything crazier because like You don't go to a dangerous place in the afternoon is dangerous. Now imagine going there at night. But I was able to meet up with somebody who knew somebody who knew somebody who knew kind of like the gang leader, like the head of the area. And then they were able to link me up with him. And then he was like, okay, I'll show you around. Then I'll show you some places I won't show you. So there's so many things I saw on camera that I saw off camera that I didn't put in the video, obviously because of YouTube and stuff. But those are those kind of situations. But these days I try to plan ahead sometimes because it's just much easier.
Yeah.
It's just much easier. I've gone on trips that were planned and I've gone on trips that were not planned. And sometimes, so it just depends. Sometimes when you plan too much, you might not really get a good story.
It's not organic.
Yeah, it's not organic. But it's just good to have a level of planning, and then every other thing you can leave that to chance. So yeah.
So, talking about dangerous situations, I have a very specific question.
Okay.
So, you traveled to Jamaica.
Okay.
And in your video, you met another creator called Arab.
Yeah.
So, Arab travels. He specifically used to go to like very dangerous areas.
Yeah.
And shortly after that video, I think maybe weeks or months, once it was posted, I don't know when you actually went.
Yeah.
He was kidnapped.
Yeah.
So, in Haiti, by the way, not in Jamaica, just for everyone to know. How does that story of what happened to him impact you as a travel creator? Did it make you second guess how you do things, or have you ever had an experience where you thought, okay, like something bad is going to happen to you as well?
So that specific situation, I kind of like knew because we're together. And it's like we're together just before he left. We're together in Dominican Republic before he went to Haiti. And it's so interesting because we're all telling him that don't go to Haiti because we're seeing the news. I was seeing the news and it's like this stuff is actually really escalating. It's like the president has left the country.
Yeah.
Like if the president is running it from the country, why are you going into the country? Well, it's like, crazy. Oh, he wanted to go. That's kind of content that is fine. I was like, don't go. Well, yeah, eventually, like, I was like, okay, cool. So I think for me, when that happened, obviously it was not a good experience because like we had to start calling people. I tried to reach out to some people. I even spoke to Wyclef because I'd met Wyclef when I landed in Jamaica. So he gave me his number. I was like, okay, like, is there anything we can do? Blah, blah, blah. So that was a very crazy experience because I think it was there for like 2 weeks plus. But as regards how did that affect me, I think normally if it was me, I wouldn't have gone to Haiti. Because as much as I can push the envelope, I know my limits.
Yeah.
And then also, like, dangerous stuff is not really my content.
Exactly, yeah.
It's not my content. I think my content is mostly like family friendly. Like, let me just show you like the nice, cool places, culture, all of that. But once in a while, I was like, okay, let me try this side because it's so interesting because going to like the most dangerous place in Dominican Republic is a different type of content as compared to like spending like 24 hours or 48 hours with the hyena men of Nigeria. I don't know if you saw that video I did with the hyena men. And they're both dangerous. But it's like one is like dangerous about culture. One is like dangerous about like just
safety and
danger.
One is controlled. The one in Nigeria is to an extent controlled. Because the guys,
I can bite you.
No, of course I'm saying, but the guys are holding it, right? Aren't they? Because I watched the video and I saw how you interacted.
Yeah,
and engaged
they are holding it, but you also need to have like so much trust in them. Because I don't know if you saw the part where there was a guy trying to cut my
head.
Yeah,
I saw that bit. I saw that and I was like, whoa, what's going on?
So there's that. So it's like, it's just different elements and different levels. But it's so interesting because when I'm doing those things, I don't really think too much about it. It's after I'm not like, oh shit, did I just do this? But in terms of, to answer your question, in terms of did that affect my view on like traveling? Not as much because like I think it didn't really affect me as much because I was just like, okay, like this can happen. There's a possibility of this happening, but at the end of the day, I would just know that okay, it just made me more cautious basically. But it didn't really. It's not like it affected me personally. Yeah.
Yeah, because obviously, like, you are of a status and people know you have a platform as well now. So it's kind of, you know, you have the value,
Yeah.
if you know what I mean. If you know what I mean. And that was like a
I
big
know the
factor.
value. Don't come and kidnap me.
That was a scary. I remember when it all went down, it was pretty like intense, man.
Yeah,
So
it was
I was
intense.
just wondering, like, it's crazy that you were literally with him just before that.
Yeah, it's crazy. I think another thing too is like when you have an American passport, there are some things you can do. I still have like mostly a Nigerian passport and a St. Kitts passport too, by the way. But it's like when you have an American passport, I think that's why Americans are like just so brave doing so many things. Because the thing about America is like anything that happens to you, if they kidnap you, America is the only country that will come and come and get you.
Yeah.
Like
I think to an extent the British.
Nigeria,
To an extent the British
To
people
extent,
might.
Did they do that?
To an extent. To an extent. No.
I've not heard of
as
any
close
news
as
that
America.
they've.
No, they have multiple times. There's something that even happened in Nigeria a couple of years ago, and they came and they took the people. They came and took their people. They normally do. It's not. That's what I say. To an extent, it's not as. It's not as prominent as in America, and that's leading me to my next question. You mentioned St. Kitts. I have a friend from St. Kitts and Nevis. So obviously the whole thing of obviously you purchasing the passport stuff was really impressive in the sense where you sort of took your own path. You sort of bought a new path for yourself, which is very impressive. So with that happening, of course, more doors are now open for you in terms of traveling. Yeah. But with that happening, did you feel some sort of like, how do I put it? As a patriotic, well, I don't know if you're patriotic Nigerian, but I'm just saying, did you feel like deep down like, you said no? Okay.
I didn't feel shit. I just felt freedom. I
I
felt freedom. You know that
For
song
real.
that Beyonce sang, freedom. That's how I felt, man.
Yeah.
I felt freedom
It was,
because I didn't feel anything. I just felt like finally, because I've literally spent so many years like struggling and doing all these things, and it's like, just imagine somebody who was born with an American passport or a British passport. Imagine how far they would have gotten
if you're in a position.
if I was in that position. So it's like, even with all those problems, I was still able to do stuff. But imagine like I didn't have to think about.
And that's where I disagree. And I totally disagree. You know why? Because your situation was so peculiar, and that's what made you what you are today. The truth is, I know so many British, American born. I promise you, they're doing the same travel. You know what?
You don't
We
need
can't.
to. I don't feel like you need to. So I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
I totally understand what you're saying in terms of like it's probably the obstacles and stuff that made me like.
So your story is so peculiar because, like I said again, it's a Nigerian. Whoa, this is the mindset that a lot of people have of Africans in Africa. They see us as a when you see a hot spot or a charging point, that's what they see us as. You can see with the pop culture, Afrobeats, we're just those people that people would like to use for whatever they're doing. Oh, it's so cool to be da. Cool. When the wave dies, they go away, which is a natural thing most people do anyway. Yeah. So for them to see a Nigerian that sounds like that doing this, a lot of people could not fathom it. They're like, what? I promise you. Because a lot of people, you know how much I was like sharing your videos to like people that be like, oh, never travel to Africa. So I'm like, oh, let me show you. You're the only what's it called? Reference point for me. Yeah. So I'll go there, I'll just put a random, the one in Calabar, for instance, you went to. I was like, hey, watch this. What were you gonna say about Nigeria now? Like that was like for me showing off in a sense, right? So I feel like it wouldn't have been as authentic if it was someone from here. Why? Because naturally they're just gonna go to all the countries you already know. No one is bothered to go to Africa. Do you get what I mean?
I get what you mean.
So it's like I knew deep down when I saw the news of you doing, I was like, man, I'm so happy for bro, man. Not that I know you. I was just happy yourself. I was like, now you can da. Because now I can get to visit places too through your lens.
I met a guy in Canada, and it was like, I don't know the guy. He just randomly walked up to me, and it was like, Tayo. He didn't even say anything.
I know the guy you're talking about.
You know the guy?
Saw him because I watched the video.
Oh, okay.
I saw the way he approached you, and I was like, this is interesting.
The guy was like, oh, Tayo, when are you going to? I think he named some countries. Like, he said, you know that you're our guinea pig, so you have to go to a country first. Then we'll see what it looks like before we now go there. I was like, oh, that's so interesting.
It's interesting because I remember that's the guy that I think it was like sort of showing you some regard because like you said, it was unexpected.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it was interesting to see that there are other people there that know who you are. And this is what I'm saying. Had it been you're just another British person, American person, you're just one of those people doing that. It's just a video vlogger, a travel vlogger. But the
Yeah.
fact is you're from a place where a lot of people say, like I said, Nigerians are the most unusual people. Like the way that the country runs and the way we are as people, is you cannot understand it. You're like, huh? Like that's what they say. If someone explains Nigeria to you and you understand it,
The person, there's something wrong.
something is not right here, man. So just like, so seeing that for me personally is interesting. And again, I guess impact. Someone else somewhere now is working so hard to get to that stage where they'll buy the passport. Which is that's pretty much what life is about for me, really.
That passport, man, it cost the whole house.
Yeah, it did.
So the passport, like, where I don't really understand. Like, I remember watching it, and I remember like it was even in the blogs and everything. I remember all of that stuff. But where is the passport actually from?
St. Kitts and Nevis.
Oh, sorry.
It's
okay,
a Caribbean country.
Yeah.
I think Nigerians can even travel there visa free.
Yeah, but they can never get there.
Oh,
because for you to get there, you need either a UK visa, a US visa, or there's another route people use through Brazil, but then you have to fly like 4 countries. Oh, Schengen, you can get Schengen. But then there's a Brazil route. But I think even Brazil, you can't even go to Brazil yourself because you have to still pass through one of those 3 hubs. UK, US. So you need one of those ones before you can even get to the Caribbean.
It's crazy, man.
The journey is long.
Yeah. So you just might as well be living here for you to get to those places.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's interesting.
Sorry.
No.
Yeah, so what has been an experience of yours traveling where you felt like I really don't enjoy this country at all? Has there actually been one, or?
Yeah, there has been one. I think it was Egypt, Cairo.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of people
Cairo
say
was
this,
nice.
People to Nigerians. They know the nicest people.
Yeah, there's that.
So I've been there before. And
you've been there. You had that experience too.
Yeah, they're not the nicest people.
There's that. There was you just don't feel like that welcoming nature. And apart from that, just the whole country, like that Cairo specifically, it was so hectic, stressful. Like it was just. And this is somebody, like, I'm saying this because I've traveled to so many other countries, but Cairo was just like something else entirely. You just feel like I couldn't film. So you can't even film, like, you just feel like you're under, like, scrutiny, like anybody can say anything at any point in time. So if you even go and put in Cairo, Egypt, you see a lot of, like, YouTubers, not even just black YouTubers, even white guys. It's like, they are so, I think it's like is it authoritarian regime or type vibe, where it's like, everything's like you can go into prison for, like, if you fly a drone there, you go to prison.
Oh, really?
Yeah, if they see you with a drone, you go to prison.
Wow. That's another thing, because before you travel, you have to figure out what's acceptable, like, and all the. So, do you actually have a team then, or do you do everything pretty much yourself?
There are so many times I actually travel alone. Most of my trips outside Africa, I do them alone. Then many times in Africa, I actually do it with. I have a film person that goes with me if I'm going for like proper shit. But the problem sometimes too is, like, even now that I've solved the passport problem for myself, now I still have to solve it for the other person that is going with me. So it's still not solved. Yeah. So at the end of the day, many times I have to just go to places alone. Like, for example, like, let's say I was coming to the UK and I wanted to film. For me now, I can easily just come, they stamp my passport and I go in. But if I wanted to come with somebody, it's difficult because the person still has the same problem of visa.
Yeah.
I was going to ask outside this because I can imagine how tedious it is talking about the things you do every day. You know, it's a difference where someone is asking you questions about stuff you do once in a while. Yeah. But something you do all the time, it's like you talking about and reliving that experience. I'm just going to ask, I'm going to kind of just turn left a little bit. So on your travels or during your travels, like, is there a particular type of music you listen to?
I love listening to lo-fi when I'm trying to get into the mode of working. So if I'm trying to write a script, or if I'm planning something, or if I'm just doing like general work, I listen to like lo-fi music. But apart from that, I listen to all sorts, man. Like on my way out, I was listening to like Afrobeats.
And what's your favorite like genre of music to listen to?
I don't have a favorite.
Oh, you don't have a favorite?
I listen to everything, depending on the mood. Sometimes I can listen to Afrobeat and I'm just like, oh, I'm tired of all this. Like sometimes I can start to feel like noise in my head. And I'm like, okay, let me just listen to something slow and chill. Sometimes it's just for me. It's just mood. I don't have any. I can listen to
so
rock.
you don't have a favorite artist now, for instance?
No, I don't.
Oh, you don't?
And there are some people that I like. I think I like all the major ones: Burna
Oh.
Boy, Whiskey, Davido, Ashake. I listen to a lot of Ashake too. Omali. I listen to almost everybody.
That's good. That's interesting.
So I don't have any specific preference. But
So you don't belong
sometimes
to an FC, BG, outsider.
all that is just long term, man. Just listen to the music and just move on. There's no time for all those
For real,
ones.
for
I don't
real.
belong to any of
Those people.
but in terms of like if I was talking about like people that I've actually like that I like as a person, I would say based on the people I've met.
Yes, I've seen the video of you and Davido.
Davido is just something else, and it's not like it's so welcoming. Like my experience with him, I was just like, at some point I'm just like. Like today is the first time we're actually meeting personally, but because it's so interesting because when we met, he was telling me about that. Oh, he watches my videos, blah blah blah. It was not just saying it based on like, he was telling me about the video I did in Namibia and what I did. He said you go climb one place, one thing. So I was like, oh yeah, he definitely does watch it. So it was just very welcoming and very accommodating, and it's like you don't get to see stars do like that. Stars are usually like just like very like so seeing somebody at that level who was doing that, I'm just like, this guy is just different. And I also see why, and that's why when I was even doing the documentary and telling the story, I see why he's successful and why he's where he's at.
Absolutely.
Even as much as many people might try to bash him or say this one, I'm like, there's just a different blessing that is just around somebody like this because of the way he is.
He seems, I don't know him, but he seems like a giving person.
He
gives
is.
a lot.
He is actually. Because there's so many, before I met David, there are so many times before where I used to hear, oh, he's proud, this one, that one, blah, 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 blah. Obviously, everybody has a level of pride. We all have pride in us
100%.
at the end of the day. But it's like that first experience, it's like, it's different when you hear something and then when you experience it. So it's going to be hard for anybody to tell me like, oh, David is this type of way. Because I've had that experience. It's not hearsay anymore.
Yeah.
So
no,
yeah.
The difference between me and David is maybe just the money and fame. No, seriously. No, it's just the money and fame. Trust me. That's why sometimes it burns me. It really affects me when I see. So you're someone who be like, yeah, I'm trying to get this person. I don't want to burst some people's bubble. I'll be like, they're not gonna come because you're just another African, another black person. So it's gonna be tough unless you're like astronomically successful and people just want to leech and be next to something that's great and stuff like that. But yeah, that's why I feel like a lot of us are like that anyway. The difference between us and someone could just maybe
Money.
fame or money or could just be a proximity, environment.
It's so interesting because there are some people who don't even have as much of, they don't have like 1 over like 1,000, but the way they will behave as compared to somebody who is at that level, it's just like, man, I'm just like,
that is
different.
That is very, very.
How
very
was that
true.
day for you though? Because I remember you just saying you went on the private jet and you did this and you did that, and it looked very busy. Like the whole day looked. I remember you saying
it was busy.
I remember you saying in the video you're tired, like it was tiring and stuff.
Yeah, it was busy, but it was busy fun, and it was also busy chill. Because think about it, like I'm used to that kind of like my whole thing on YouTube is like run and gun. Like my stuff is not like really like, oh, sit down, like everything. It's like I'm just with the camera and I know anything can happen at any time. I don't know if you saw the last documentary, one of the last documentaries I did when I went to Tanzania. I went with the Hadza guys, the monk.
Yes.
Like that was one of the most intense videos I've ever shot.
I watched that to the end. I could not believe it because I remember I got back from football.
I don't think I've seen that one.
No, I've seen that. No. I got back from football. I was like, of course I'm subscribed to this. So it's on my recommendations.
Yeah.
So when I just turn on the TV and I just see maybe if you've been tired and I see this person here, my screen. All the people
At
I
least
follow.
he subscribed.
Like all the people I follow and I genuinely love watching.
Yeah.
I just see them on my recommendation. So I just take time and
I just
watch random. So that's the one I say. So everyone in my house already knows know your video, your face, and sometimes I could put the volume really loud. I could go to the kitchen because if I'm in the kitchen trying to dish out food, I can't watch. So I wanna be So I'm like, then if I hear something interesting, when I get back, I'll rewind.
Oh, mad.
Who do you watch? Do you watch any like YouTubers or?
I watch a lot of YouTube too, personally. Man, I watch all sorts too, but I watch documentaries for sure.
Oh, that's my thing.
I watch I watch tech videos sometimes. I watch car videos. I also watch like reaction, like is it reactions? No, commentary channels. So those channels where they're talking about stuff. I love watching those ones once in a while. But you know the funny thing is like when I go to my recommendations, like I just go to YouTube and most times I'll probably see something interesting and I'll just watch it. So most times like YouTube, I also watch a lot of like travel. I watch a lot of travel people who also make travel content too, but most of them are probably the white guys because not a lot of travel content is like like especially on this side, it's like there are only very few people making travel content in terms of like proper travel content.
Yeah.
Like, what's his name? What day?
With Maya, yeah.
It's funny. It's interesting. Now, this is a long time ago. I remember the first time I saw Corty was in your video. First time I saw Corty was in your video. I'll never forget. That was when, and it's funny when as soon as I watched her, appear in your video, then you're still based around Nigeria doing content. I went straight away to look because of her story there. The little where she said, I went straight away to check if it correlates.
Yeah.
And she was on 5,000 or something,
Yeah,
some crazy
something
low,
like that, yeah,
low
low
number
number,
compared to what she's
where
on
she is
now.
now,
And I was like, oh, okay. So it's like there's so much that my brain is retained. That's why for me, when people are like, oh, do you know this? Sometimes I lie. I say, I don't know, just to pretend. I just want to hear, because a lot of people catch up when you're already successful.
Yeah.
When there's a lot of people that are just with you from the from the ground up. So it's interesting to see how far she's come.
Yeah.
How far you've come too. So it's like, wow, it's interesting, man. It's very interesting. So it's just weird. It's like me watching because I'm a documentary guy. So it's in my head, I just sit there and start piecing things together and be like, oh, this would be like a nice movie to make. Like, just see how life
Everything just comes
intertwines and
together.
stuff like
Yeah.
that. It's very interesting. What's your favorite food? Sorry, before you go. What's your favorite food?
No, I don't have a favorite
Oh,
food.
man.
I don't have a lot of favorites because it's like how do I know it's my favorite food when have I tasted all the other foods out there?
True. All right, let me tailor it down. That's a good point, but let me tailor it down to the food you eat the most.
So the food I eat the most is not necessarily my favorite food. I just eat what is available. When you live the life I live, you just have to eat whatever is there and just move. Because you can't be waiting for like favorite. But in terms of like foods I actually like eating, I think there was never I used to like pounded yam and like egusi soup. But then eventually now it morphed into like amala and begiri.
Oh, nice. You're calling
And now, I don't know what's my favorite food now. Actually, don't know. Probably maybe it's probably one of those swallows. Maybe like pounded. It's either between pounded yam or amala. One of the two.
Yeah, mine is my top three would possibly be rice, amala, and pounded yam. Top three. Because when I was little, rice. Oh my, you can kidnap me with rice. Just put rice on the plate and say, "Come out, just follow you," and I'm gone.
I have a bit of a spiritual question now.
Okay, let's go spiritual.
Before we round up, but yeah, I wanted to know.
I'm rounding up so soon. Oh, okay, cool.
No, not soon, but you know, spiritual is. Yeah, I wanted to ask basically because you've traveled to so many places, you've had all these experiences, you've met all these different people in different places at different times. You must have like such a wide view of life, the world, much broader than probably a lot of people, right? And like you just said about the food, you're like, oh, how can I have one favorite if I haven't tried all of them? A lot of people would just have their favorite. Do you get what I mean? But you're thinking, no, there's so much to explore. Like your mindset is already a bit different. Do you get what I'm saying? So in all of those experiences, is there something that you feel you've learned about humans or like people in general?
Well, I think one of the major ones that comes to my head is like never like stereotype people, because I feel like, you know, people can be like, sometimes people be like, oh, these people from this country, they are a certain way, or these people, they are rude, or these people, they are racist, or these people, they are whatever. But I've come to realize most times it's like those people that we're talking about that are probably maybe like we give those negative stereotypes, there's a few out of like a large percentage of people. Most people are naturally like good people, generally. So I think because the more you travel, the more you just get exposed to the fact that, you know, like across the world, people are just like people are just people. The same way we have flaws, the same way I have flaws, you have flaws, the same way everybody else also has flaws too. So I think that's one of the major ones is that the more I traveled and the more I learned how to approach people and just how to have those conversations. Because I can literally I can walk up to anybody if I'm making a video. The guy on the streets, the guy washing the gutter, the guy selling something, and just strike a conversation with them. And depending on how you approach them, some can be busy, but eventually many people are actually open to actually like talking and doing stuff. And then also the life you live is not so like far removed from somebody in Japan or somebody in like we are almost all living the same version of the same lives in just different ways. So it's not like sometimes people just look somewhere and feel like, oh, these people they are living a better life than me. But it's kind of like still the same thing at the end of the day. Another thing too is like almost every body like I've met or every tribe or every culture, they always have some specific way that they like to like entertain themselves.
Okay.
And so there are places that people have different ways of entertaining themselves. And like I would say most people have a way where they get like, I don't know if cussing is allowed on this podcast.
Go for it,
But
man.
everybody has their own way of like getting like fucked up. So for example, those guys in the bush, even though they are hunter gatherers, they smoke a lot of weed.
Okay.
Like they're in the bush. They've not seen TV. They've not seen anything. But they created a way where it's like, okay, I'm gonna get high through this way.
But it's healthy though. I think it's a herb.
Yeah, it's a
For
herb.
them, so
But his point of view is that everybody has a.
No,
like
I know.
that.
I get where he's coming
Yeah.
from. But I was
Yeah.
just speaking out loud. Like,
Yeah.
Everybody
It's
has
a
a
herb,
way.
bro.
So some countries like it could be drink, it could be different people just have different things. And it still brings me back to the same point. It's like human beings are like human beings. We're all kind of like the same. We're just living like different lives in different places, but we're all the same at the end of the day. People that are good are good. People that are bad are bad. People are welcoming. So it just depends. I think that's one of the major ones. I'm trying to think of any other one that I think I don't know what was the question again, so that I can remember.
Like what you've kind of learned about people.
People.
Yeah, just in general.
Yeah, I think that's the major one about people. Like, yeah.
So you feel like people are open as long as you're like open to them.
Yeah, people are. It depends on your approach. So it's like, depending on your approach. Obviously, even if you travel to the most remote places. So and why I say this as an example, I still keep going back because I'm trying to give you like contrast. The same way I walk up to somebody maybe in London, maybe along the road here. It's the same way I can walk up to a hunter gatherer in the jungle who has never seen this. This is like that's like one of the most primal human beings. And when you compare it to somebody who is living in somewhere where you developed, if you approach them in a very open way and you just approach them with like warmth and all of that, they respond to you. So that just shows you that it's human nature, wherever you might be, whether it's the richest person or it's the most primal guy in the bush.
He's absolutely right, because what you just said, I've got the shirt on now, so it's kind of I just thought of it. It's true because you, of course, you know, so I don't have to say, do you know? But I'm just gonna ask for the sake of it. You know, Funke Akindele, right?
Yeah.
Of course, Jennifer. So this is her.
Yeah,
shirt,
everybody loves
Everyone
Jennifer.
loves
Yeah.
right? So her younger sister works at my place. But at that time I didn't know that was the younger sister. So just talking about welcoming and just how people are. So I just saw her with the top. I was like, oh, interesting. That's a nice top. I was like, oh, everyone loves Jennifer. That's cool. And because I like to pay compliments to people, I don't care, a guy, girl, if it looks nice, because I like the jumper. I love the colors. They're popping. I was like, that's nice. I was going to mind my business and walk away because I've done what I was going to do. I was just like, oh, are you Nigerian? I was like, yeah, I am. And that's how we started talking for like maybe first minute or so. Then I was like, okay, conversation done in my head. I've wrapped it up because I've never seen her before. She's never seen me. So I was going to mind my business and walk away. And she was like, oh, would you like a top? I was like, what? For real? I was like, I don't mind. You know, I do like Think Akida. I watch her movies and stuff like that. So but again, you know, people just say things and you're like, okay, cool. Then fast forward 3 days later, she generally came back to work and she gave me this top. I was like, you know what? I'm wearing it when I see Tayo, you know. I'm going to wear it. So I just said it myself. I was like, I'm just going to wear it. Because for me, it's just her. how I approached her. So imagine I just saw her and I go hello and I walked
It's about the
away.
interaction.
I can imagine
Yeah.
I wouldn't have the
It's-
top now. So yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, what
It's
you
literally
mean.
how you like just
Approach
approach.
people. But there's some people, no matter how I approach them,
and
Would
it's
you-
just what it is, man.
Would you say that British people are like?
I'll be honest with you.
Because you have the British people that are like very like,
British
you're right,
people-
yeah, how are you? Da, 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 da.
Yeah.
But then we can all get on a train and nobody even looks at each other.
Yes,
Do you
that's
get what I
because
mean? Like we're very.
yeah, British people are
But,
very.
but that's kind of like normal everywhere.
Is it?
Yeah, it's normal everywhere. Like most commutes or most places where it's like I'm specifically referring to the train. So trains, buses, like most times when people are on buses or trains, they're using it to maybe most people want to be left alone.
yes, wanna catch
They
up
probably
with
want to
things.
catch up or something or be on. But it doesn't also mean that you can't strike up a conversation with somebody too. Sometimes one of the easiest ways to actually start talking with somebody is just give them a compliment. Everybody
Yeah,
loves a
everyone
compliment.
loves it.
Oh, nice shoes. Oh, like what book is that? That's a nice book. Whatever. It's once you do that, you see their face just lightens up, and they're
Because
like,
a lot
oh,
of people are waiting for that. Actually.
Exactly.
Their day started really badly.
Yeah.
And they need some sort of pick me up. But for me, like I say, if someone were like, no, you've got an amazing. I love the color of your Timbs. They're really, really.
Why using my strategy on me? Use it too soon.
No,
He
it's
learned
really,
quick.
But thank you.
no. But I did say I love to
Thank
give
you.
compliments. Yeah, but
Thank
it's
you.
really nice. I love the fit. It looks really good. You
Thank
look
you.
suave. You look very clean.
Thank
And for me, I give compliments not to sort of want to necessarily start up a conversation. It's because I feel like it's the truth. Do you get it?
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
you see something happening as the
Yeah,
truth. You just say and
true.
just walk away.
Yeah,
I
sometimes.
feel like
yeah.
you do that quite a lot, actually.
Yeah, I do that.
Whenever we have like somebody come here, I feel like the first thing you
I
do
always
is like
do.
you usually
I
compliment.
I always say your
That's
fit looks
true,
really
you
good.
know.
Look back on our videos every
What,
time.
what do you do when their feet doesn't look good?
I don't tell them anything. I just stay quiet. So to those people that are watching
No,
my
he,
life,
no. Do you know what he does? Do you know what he does? You try to crack a joke instead.
because I'm a funny guy, I
You do-
believe. In my head, I'm a funny guy.
Okay.
In my head, I'm a funny
I feel
guy.
like
but I'm
me,
not
I
funny,
just kind of smile a lot. That's my way of like letting the person know like I'm not trying to judge you or nothing. I'm open to you. I feel like when I'm talking to like probably when you met me, I was just probably smiling a lot.
Yeah,
Do
you
you get what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But
Like some people are like,
psychologically
why
as
is she
well,
so friendly? And it's not that I'm trying to be friendly or like I'm just trying to show you that I come in peace. Like I'm, do you know what I'm saying? Like I'm a happy person. Like you're cool. Like do you get what I mean?
and that's something interesting as well because even when I walked in and I was like, hello, of course. First of all, in my head anyway, I've always said this, and I say this to kids as well. It's like when you're in a situation that is not really you, you genuinely have to be accountable. Do you get it? It's like you've never met me, I've never met you, and your first impression, you don't know, you don't work for the council of wherever council this is. Do you know what I mean? I know personally, like okay, yeah, normally we're here, we're early and stuff like that. That could be like a bad first impression.
point.
Let's just imagine we're not having this interview.
Yeah.
It was maybe you wanted to collect something
Yeah.
off me. You wouldn't know if I'm a good, bad, ugly,
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
It's just you're based on, the guy was late, man. Da, da, da. Do you get it? So it's interesting to know that even with smiles, I believe some people would not still warm up to you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
it's normal.
Because I know a
Yeah.
lot of people that no matter how much you smile, they don't care. Because that's
I'm
just
so-
them as well.
I'm somebody that like hates like forced conversation.
Or small talk.
If I like with me, for example, you would have experienced this today. I'll speak and see how you respond to me. And then if I feel like I'm not getting much back, I won't try to bother you again. Do you get what I mean?
I'm the opposite.
Sorry.
No,
but
I'm
like,
the opposite.
No, I feel you.
Do you
You're
get what I
right.
mean? Like
You're-
I just kind of like try to I read people quite well, I would say.
Yeah, I noticed you're also kind of like you're more. It's like you just throw it out there and you're like you're just quiet, you just lean back and you just watch.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I noticed
I
that. So I'm like, okay,
observe.
cool.
Like I want to see,
Yeah.
okay, cool. Is that person actually open to talk to me? Because some people they don't.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, we've
And
had
we deal with
situations like that.
so many people.
I-
Like
I'm
when they
not,
come
yeah.
here, I can sense as soon as they walk through the door, I can sense. Okay, this person actually doesn't want to be here today.
Yeah,
Do you get what I mean?
but I think the actual skill is now turning it from this person doesn't want to be here to figuring out a way to make sure that the person actually
That
enjoys
is-
being here.
And we
is
do
me.
it.
That
No,
is
we
me.
do
I
do that.
take that on my head. I love the fact that she's right. She just say, you know what? I'll just take the back seat. I'm a person where
Yeah.
I'm like, you're here. We've got to make it work. I can make anything work in life, especially when it comes to chatting to someone, because I believe I'm knowledgeable about a lot of stuff. So wherever you can start, I can start conversation about anything now, and at least I know 20% of something, and we just carry on talking. You get it? And because I just know that some people are like rocks. You need to keep hammering at them.
But sometimes you have to also be careful too, because I
That's
think
where
I
I
understand
come
what
in.
she's
That's
saying.
where I
No, I'm talking about this
I
space.
understand what she's saying.
This space.
Yeah,
I'm talking about this space.
Okay, this
Outside
space.
here,
Yeah.
me. No, listen. I've said this so many times. Even few people know. If you're in a place like a party or any gathering, and I say hello, the way you say hi, I just mind my business. I'll go. I just don't force it. I strongly believe in consent, It's not just between a man and a woman. Even between two men, consent is important. If I say, yo, what's up? And the guy's like, I'm good, man. Okay. I'll find my way. I'll just move away, man, because I ain't got time for that. Trust me. Sorry, quickly. I was gonna say one of the most.
So you're always cutting out.
No. It's just we're about to say. I was gonna say before I forget. One of the most prominent videos as well that I remember of you is the J. Cole concert.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was interesting. How did that come about outside the fact that you planned to go for it?
So I first of all, J. Cole, then even now it's still like my favorite rapper, even though he has dulled recently with all this with him not that one is another matter.
He's mine as well. He's my
He's
favorite.
my favorite rapper.
I'm with you on this one. I'm with you.
So even then, he was also my favorite rapper. So like when I heard he was coming to Nigeria, and I was like, oh, like I would love to shoot this. Like if I could film this, that would be amazing. So I tried to look for who were the people organizing it. I think it was Live Sport or something then. And then I sent a mail to them like, oh, I have this channel. Then I had maybe like 2,000 subscribers or something. Like I didn't have subscribers. But I was like, I'm going to make a video. When I make the video, I'm going to have it out and I'm going to give it to you guys, give you all the content, blah, blah, blah. Just give me access. And then eventually they were like, okay, come and get a press tag. And I got a press tag and I got there early enough. And I found my location like very close to the stage. So within that period, they also had like opening acts, like they had Wizkid come, Davido come perform. And then I was like when I saw I think when the first time J. Cole came out, I was like, damn, like this guy is in front of me. I was so excited. And then he just came out, I was like, this like I think it was KOD just dropped then. And I was just so excited. And I was like, it was just here because I was in front of the stage and it was just in front of me. I was like, okay, Tayo, just make sure you film this thing, stay calm. And then I was like, I was just filming the footage. I was like, I think it was one of my best experiences ever because it's like, you're a big fan of somebody so much and then the person is right in front of you. And then I made sure that when everybody was posting, like when the concert finished, I made sure my videos was one of the best videos. Like I got home that same night, I slept like 2 hours and then I woke up and I started editing. And then I dropped my video almost 48 hours after he came. Other people had dropped theirs 24 hours after, but I sat down with my own, made sure.
That was the one that got so much.
And then my video
I remember.
just boomed past everybody's video. I think it got like 1.something million views.
Yeah. I remember
So
that.
I was like, nah, mine has to be the best.
That's how long I've been watching it, and it's interesting because even after that, once you did that, I love the fact that you didn't go, oh yeah, no, I'm just gonna be a concert goer and you're just gonna record. I love the fact that you just went, oh, I'm back to my normal stuff.
It wasn't actually the plan, but I think when that video did well, I was like, okay, this did well. But I knew that for me to get another video that would do like that, I need maybe like somebody else to come. I'm like, I don't know when next anybody's gonna come. I can't be waiting.
That's true.
And then I just kept doing my stuff. Then even did real estate. That's when I now went into real estate videos. Then I think the next year or 2 years after or something, Cardi B came to Nigeria. I did a video on her too. But I think that was like my last concert event type video that I shot. And after that one, I was just like, let me just focus on other stuff that is like I can make consistent videos about because I can't be waiting for Kendrick Lamar to come or something.
Crazy.
So I was going to ask you, back to a bit of a spiritual side.
No, it's cool. I'm all around.
You're open. I was just going to ask you, with the experiences of so many people, like naturally we all have, I don't want to say we all judge people, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like really and truly, we all have our ideas of people.
We all judge people, right?
Yeah.
Actually, we all.
Do you get what I mean? As much as judge has like a very strong like meaning to it, because I feel like it's negative, But like sometimes I know that we all just have our ideas of people
Yeah, sure.
by how they look, how they talk, how they
Yeah.
do everything, right? Do you feel that yours has kind of like changed since traveling so much? Like, do you feel like you still actually judge people, or what's your view on that?
So I would say when I started, like before I started traveling, I think my idea of the world is like it's kind of like you and I don't know you, but it's like I met you. I don't have any like. It's like you're a blank slate, and then the more I spend time with you, the more I'm getting to like know you. But I don't really have any like preconceived notions about anybody or anything. I'm very open to stuff. So it's like everybody, and when it comes to people, it's like everybody has like a blank scorecard. So whatever you do, if you do negative stuff, then it's like minus. Then if you do positive stuff, but everybody starts at like zero, like blank. So I don't really have any preconceived notions about people generally. But obviously, if I'm in a train and then I'm seeing somebody that is like dressed very haggardly, his clothes is dirty, I would know that this person is like. This person is probably a bum or something like that. So that general judging from appearance, that one is definitely there because like you need to have that to be safe. If you see some guy wearing a hood in the night, you have to judge him and be like, maybe this guy wants to mug me, and then you run.
But did like when you first started or when you first started traveling, did you have ideas of like countries or like judgments of countries, and then when you go there, you're like, oh, it's actually not what I thought it was gonna be.
Okay, so it's interesting because do I have ideas of countries? I don't really do. I'll probably maybe just have. So I knew New York was like. I watch a lot of videos on New York. I knew it was like fast paced and everything, and like, like everybody would just be moving and stuff. And when I went there, it was kind of like the same thing. And what other country can I point to? So South Africa, people are like, people there are xenophobic, blah 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 blah. But like I said, like when I'm there, I came to realize that okay, it's a specific set of people that are like that. And like when you are in some other areas, you don't get to experience any of that. So I think my view has just been based on like, I get a lot of information generally about like different places before I go there. And as I travel, I kind of like take feedback from everything I'm seeing. So if I go into a country, I'm like, okay, first of all, the way people treat me at the airport shapes my perception of the country. From the immigration officer. So like, recently, I went to Kenya and now it's like the immigration guy there was just being very whatever. I'm like, oh, this guy, like these people, they are not nice. Just from that one guy.
Yeah.
But then something else might happen in Kenya that might be nice. And I'm like, oh, maybe somebody might be nice and then it might counteract the negativeness of that guy I met. So it just all depends. There's another country I went to. I went to Ethiopia and that was a very horrible experience.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Why was it horrible?
I did a video. They were like, they saw me and they profiled me and they said I was carrying drugs because I was a Nigerian because I had a green passport. Part of the problems of having a green passport. I did a video about it, and then they told me to take a dump in front of them. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Oh, because they thought, oh, okay. Yeah. I was like, what? That doesn't even, what's going on?
And I imagine you just coming down from a 6-hour flight and then you're just there and then somebody just steps aside. It's like, oh, you're a Nigerian. The guy was so sure, like, oh, you're a Nigerian and you're carrying something. I suspect you. I'm like, as if they gave him my name. Like Tayo Aina is coming with 5 kilos of cocaine or something like that.
That is crazy.
So that was like.
Did you tell them like, no, I'm here just to.
You tell them, but they don't answer. The guy was like, if you don't cooperate, we will not allow you to leave the airport.
Okay.
So that kind of like colored my perception about Ethiopia. But I still eventually went into the country and met with the people, and it was still an amazing experience. So I think it just depends. Like tomorrow, if somebody asks me about Ethiopia, I won't be like, you see, when you even asked me what's my least favorite place I've been, I didn't say Ethiopia, even though Ethiopia is the place that I had the worst travel experience ever.
Right.
I said Cairo because generally, like, many people in Cairo was. So if I meet 10 people and 5 of those people are not nice, then I was just like, oh, this country is just what it is. So, but generally, I move into countries with like an open mind.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's just wild. Even though, that's wild.
Do you guys have a British passport?
No, German.
Oh, you're a German. Okay, you have a German passport.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. What about you?
Yeah, British.
So it's British soft life.
You know, the thing is,
With the money here, you can't even travel. Like,
Yeah.
everything's so
can.
expensive.
Well, you
No,
can
but I'm
travel.
saying,
Oh,
like,
yes, sorry.
for you to
Economy
actually
and
really
stuff.
make use of your passport, you have to be earning.
The thing is,
a
I've never
lot.
been I'm still not a massive fan of traveling. Like I said, I've been living vicariously through you by watching your things, and you know what I mean. So for me, I've been to a few places. I've been to Cape Verde. I've been to stuff like that, and it's one of your videos, anyways, that inspired the Cape Verde trip, which I did this year. So it's just one of those things that So like I use it as reference. I'm like, should I travel? Oh wait, let me check.
What's your favorite country that you've been to?
I'll be honest with you, Cape Verde.
Okay, what about you?
The people are really nice.
I feel like this is gonna be biased, but
Germany?
where my dad is from,
Cyprus.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But bear in mind, I've not been to like other continents yet.
So you've mostly traveled
Europe.
Europe.
Yeah.
Why were you born there or were you born?
No.
You were born here.
I was born here. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Cool.
But weirdly enough, I feel at home there.
You feel at home
In Cyprus.
in Cyprus.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's because
Germany,
Germany.
it's really complicated
Okay.
to be honest. My mom is
Because-
German.
Because you don't give what the people
This is
stereotype as the
exactly
German
why I
vibe.
don't feel at home there. Because in Germans are very like by the rules.
Yeah.
Like
robotic.
eat at this time, go to
Oh
sleep
my
at this
God.
time.
When I-
They're very
Robotic.
robotic. And Cypriots
Yeah.
are like island people. They're so laid back. So you can imagine my mom and my dad.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm
Oh,
saying?
okay. I get that.
So I took after my dad.
Oh, okay.
So I'm not my German side. I can speak the language. That's about it. I lived there for a couple of years. I didn't like it. I was begging to come back.
So would you live in Cyprus?
I would definitely live in Cyprus.
But
Yeah.
don't you think after 6 months, your perception might change? Because
See,
you know
this
they
is
say
the-
if
yeah,
you
I
visit
know.
a place,
I
you're
know,
gonna be
I
like,
know,
oh, it's
I know.
great. When you live there, like, maybe not.
So what it is like, you guys probably relate. I don't know. You can tell me if you relate. But where your family is from, or where you, like the people that look like you, speak like you, have your habits, the way you speak, like all these little things, interactions that you have with a person, when you meet people that are similar or the same, you kind of feel like you belong, if that makes sense. Like, yeah, so in Cyprus, like if I'm talking to someone, or like they eat all the food that I grew up with, or like they speak the same way.
I feel you.
They like
Same thing with Nigeria.
the
for
humor,
sure.
like
Yeah,
I
that's true.
understand all of their interactions.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's why I'm a bit, and I'm not. It's not being biased, anyways. And anyone that knows me, I always say this: the average Nigerian mentality, I'm not a fan of. Because
What do you mean by average Nigerian
I'll
mentality?
give you an
though?
average Nigerian mentality. So I'm talking about the people that are not open to new adventures and experiences. They're so set in their ways.
But is that average Nigerian mentality?
The reason I say
or-
average is because I don't have like a what's it called? I don't want to put a percentage on it. So it's just a vague way of describing someone that fits into what I'm about to say. Do you get it? So when they say, "Oh, the average man on the street's got a hoodie on," not necessarily true, but it's just like a scope of an idea. Of it.
Yeah. I know. I understand that part, but I'm like, is the average Nigerian set in their ways? That's what I'm
No,
trying
they
to
are
answer.
set in their ways because of the religion and culture. It's
Oh,
not a
okay,
negative
I
thing.
get what
It's
you
just a thing where I'm in a place in my life now where I feel like if you tell me that the Big Bang is true, I'll be like, okay, let me entertain it for a second. Do you get it?
No, I get
Now
what
when you
mean.
meet another, like I said again,
Oh,
an
okay.
average Nigerian person will be like, no, don't believe in God. It's either they believe in Babalawo, in God, or as a Muslim. It one or the other. It's one of those three. Do you know what I mean? So growing up as a Nigerian, it's either you're Christian, what you're associated with. Now, when you start to travel and you start to hear things like, "Oh, I'm an atheist. I'm a this. I'm a that," you're like, "Whoa." Oh, I believe in this, that gender, whatever it is. Where I'm coming from, where I'm from, we don't necessarily believe in it. Of course, Gen Zs and the new era is slightly changing things. So that's why I'm saying that, in my opinion, anyway. I would just say in general, it's just the average way of them. That's what I say average. So that means it's like, again, we're all from almost the same culture, if you know what I mean. Either religion or your cultural backgrounds or beliefs. You know what I'm saying? So like you have some beliefs that after you started your vlogging, I think they've not changed completely, but you're like, maybe there's more into this, you know. I don't know. Do you have one of those things?
Actually, I don't. Actually, I think
Oh.
I would just say I've just learned more stuff. Obviously, I've learned more, and my view of the world has like kind of like expanded. But most things, I've always been a very open person. Like from a young age,
enough.
I'm always like, you know, when something gets spoiled in the house, it's always Tayo that spoils it. Because it's like, I'm the one always like, you know,
Experiment.
experimenting. I'm using screwdrivers to open stuff. So I'm always I've always been a curious person from a young age. So I've never really had like a specific set way of like viewing the world because I'm always just open to learning. Like, oh, okay, well, what do you guys? How does that work? Why is this phone standing like that? What's gonna make it balance? What's this thing for? Oh, like stuff like that. So I've always just been open. So I think every time I travel, it's just adding more information to that. But I wouldn't really say like I had a specific view of something that kind of like changed based on something. It's just more
You've
stuff.
always been
Fair enough.
open.
My view changed in the sense where because I'm so open minded. I'm not easily sort of should I say corrupted or influenced by anything. Like I don't have FOMO, so I don't have a fear of missing out of anything, right? So I already have like an idea of what. Let's say I'm using this mic. If you come down and say to me, "I think this mic can do this," I'll entertain it. Do you get it? Growing up, for instance, I could just say my uncle. If I say, "Oh, I think we should," no, that can't be. You know? Do you get it? It's just that mentality where everyone. I know it all.
You just have a broader mind.
Yeah, just so for me, I like to entertain things, even though I won't end up maybe believing in it. I'll just entertain it to hear. Maybe there might be truth in it. Do you get it? Because even the most
I think
silliest
everybody
thing,
should be that way.
no, even the silliest thing has some sort of truth in it. You know, if you tell me your hat can fly, I know it's silly, but you know, I know in my brain.
I want to attend that one.
You know what? Yeah, the reason is growing up. You know, you can't pick money off the floor, for instance, and that affected me. Like on Saturday, on my way to the football pitch, I saw a pound on the floor, and me and my friend were laughing. We're like, if I pick this now, you know, I could turn into chicken and da da da. But we know it's not true. But we're just like entertaining
I know
it. You
it.
get
Are you
what I
sure
mean?
it's not
Just that-
true? Are you sure it's not true?
Oh, here it's not true. No, it's not.
Okay, here or
No,
obviously here.
back home. No, that's different. I don't know about that. Yeah, it's not true.
So like with the channel, obviously you don't have to give away any plans or surprises or anything, but you've done a lot of travel stuff, a lot of experiences. There's been so many memories on your channel and so many different types of content. Is there something that you haven't done yet that you want to do? Or are you just still kind of like going with what you're doing right now?
That's a good question. Is there anything I haven't done yet that I want to do? I think for me it's like at every stage of my journey in terms of like content, it's just more of like, you know, figuring out what's next. I'm always in that what's next stage. Like, okay, you know, I've made travel videos. People love the travel videos. I've made documentaries. People love them. Okay, what next can I do? What next is more? Because also sometimes it's like when you keep doing the same thing continuously. So like most of my videos are kind of like, they're different because it's different countries, different experiences. But it's still kind of like, they're still travel videos, similar in a way. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, what else can I do that is like different? And then I'm always in that mind space. So I think there are different concepts I want to try out in the future. I don't know what they are yet. I have some ideas, but I would say I'm in that stage of still exploring. I don't really have the answers to that yet at the moment. But I think I'm just going with, not really going with the flow, but I'm figuring it out. That's the best way to say it. I'm figuring it out as I go.
You'll end up finding something.
Yeah,
that way.
eventually that's literally how it happens. So sometimes I don't over pressure myself because everything I've done so far, all the areas I decided to make content, it was just from just being curious and just discovering. It was never like, oh, do this. It's just like, okay, whatever I'm curious about, I start off with that.
So your editing, was it self-taught? Yeah, you taught yourself.
Everything I do, everything I've ever done was like self-taught. So I didn't go to any school. I was an Uber driver before I started like YouTube.
Oh, that's nice. That's actually interesting and very.
What's the most annoying thing about YouTube?
Stressful as fuck, man. People see me traveling. You can watch my channel. I'm like, oh, this guy's traveling. He's enjoying himself. It's work. It's plenty of work.
I think as creators, obviously our content is so different to yours.
Yeah.
So I don't want to say like we have the same experience, but Bro.
What's stressful? Is it the editing or
YouTube is like
Everything. YouTube is work.
it's work? It's a
It's a
job.
lot of work.
It's a whole lot of work, and then it's so interesting because you have to. It's a work that you have to wear almost all the hats. So let's even leave the production. First of all, especially when you come to traveling content, you have to plan the trip. Then you have to plan what was going to happen when you get there. Then you have to film the content. Then you have to know how to, what story you're trying to tell, piece all of that together, produce it, film it, spend all the amount of days, spend money getting to the location, fly there, doing all of that, fly back with all that content, sit down and start to figure out what story you want to tell, piece everything together. Once you're even done piecing and telling the story, doing voiceover, this one, that one, now you have to figure out what's the title of the video.
Oh yes.
Now you have to figure out what the thumbnail design is going to be like. Now you have to figure out, okay, how would you want to promote this content? And then all of that, you've not even posted it, and then you post it. And you don't know if people are going to watch all this work you've done.
Yes.
You don't know if it's going to get 1 view or 1 million views. And then once you do that, then maybe you drop the video, it doesn't do well. You're now stressed because you spent so much money to do the video. And then you have to start tweaking it. Okay, let me change the title, let me change the thumbnail, let me do this one, that one. And then after a while, you have to just eventually get to the point where you're just like, okay, whatever happens, you leave the video, and then you have to start the process again onto the next one.
It's true.
And you have to keep doing that every time because you can't. YouTube is such a platform that is like you can't drop one video and wait like 4 months and then drop another. You have to drop another one
Like
very
feeding
soon.
a human being. Just to
Exactly.
stay
It's
healthy,
like you have to feed the machine continuously because that's the only way you can go feed the algorithm. So it's stressful. I think that's the major part about it, and it can affect your mental health if you're not careful.
Absolutely.
It can also affect how you see yourself, like your identities. Like you can tie your identity to the success of your channel because one other problem too with like YouTube and stuff generally is that your success or your failure is visible to everybody.
Facts.
Facts.
Metrics wise.
That's a big one.
It's like,
That's
drop
the
the video.
title.
The video has like, maybe your videos get averagely 200,000 views. Then you drop one video, it gets 50K. They're like, is she falling off? Like, our videos are not popping anymore. Then you tie it to your identity, you now start feeling bad.
You start internalizing it.
That's the reason why for me I always like try and tell young people that listen, numbers are not important. They're important for you trying to sell a product. Obviously, you want to show people that you're successful. But why it's not important is care about the impact. Just think about it. Like
you need money too. Before you
no, money of course.
Yeah,
I'm talking about the other
that's
side.
the
Yeah.
thing, that's the
I mean because
impact can only happen. Yeah,
when
I
you're
understand
successful,
I understand what you're saying in terms of like impact is important. Yeah, everybody who wants to do YouTube, you have to care about impact, but you have to figure out how to strike that balance between, as much as you want to make like impactful content, you also have to still make sure that your content is being viewed, and sometimes you have to play that game of YouTube. Like understanding the audience, what they want to watch, and making content that they actually want to watch. So it's all a balance. I don't even think there's any single advice that fits all. But my major advice to most people who probably want to do YouTube is just to fall in love with making content. Once you fall in love with making videos, every other thing flows from there.
Yeah, it's just important that because a lot of people just see the numbers, and they're not thinking, right, there's a lot of people that have high numbers, but I don't see them actually influencing other people. The impact is zero in the sense where it's just like, this guy's just here or this woman is just here for the next 5 years, they're going to go. But there's some people, when you watch the content, like, yes, this person forever. Yeah. They've been etched into the people's memory and stuff like that, which is really, really, for me, that's dope. But
I feel like when I said earlier that you inspire me, right? I remember like I was trying to do documentaries at one point, and I was looking at how do people even edit documentaries, because there's a whole maths behind it, right? Because you have to capture attention, make it interesting, the story has to be interesting, all these different things. Anyway, and I remember like looking at different documentaries and whatever, and I came across yours, and I just remember the first 30 seconds, right? You change like I don't think people understand. Yeah, I was analyzing the 30 seconds of your videos. Yeah. Use big font. Only a few words on the screen at a time. Like I actually analyzed it. Yeah. Like I analyzed it. Yeah. You flick between like you don't let one video play too long. It's like quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So your eye is like constantly.
Yeah.
You want to
Bro,
watch more.
you have it on lock. Yeah.
I'm trying. I'm
This
trying to get better.
Listen, this guy
trying.
knows the formula. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get better.
But that's the thing,
that's
though.
important.
What I'm trying to get at is there is actually a formula to it.
Yeah, there's a formula, definitely, for sure. It's it's like when I started, there was a time I started YouTube and I didn't have an idea of like I was just learning. It was a process. Like my videos 4 or 5 years ago is different from my videos now, and my videos in 2 years' time is probably going to be different from my videos now, because the world is also changing. The platform is changing. People's attention span is changing.
Yeah.
So it's like you need to learn some strategies in terms of like knowing, okay, like thumbnails and titles important. You have to find something that pulls people in, and then you now have to make them watch. So you have to make sure they actually come, and when they click the video, the whole point of any YouTube video that you're making is to make people click and make them watch. That's it. Like make them click and make them watch. If you can achieve that, then you're good for all your videos. So it's not just like making them click is like the first part, because it's like that's where thumbnail and title comes in.
Yeah.
And then once you pull them in, it's like, okay, how long can you keep them watching? Because if they click and they don't watch, the video will go down.
There's no point.
There's no point. So that first 30 seconds, because back then people used to be like, oh, welcome back to my channel, blah, blah, blah. I used to do that too.
Yeah.
And I tell people, never do that shit, because nobody has time for welcome back to my channel. Because you have to also make your videos in a way where it's like, either your old viewers and somebody who has never seen your channel before, once they click on your videos,
They don't leave.
they are in, they watch. Because imagine I've never seen your video before. And then you come and then you're like, oh, welcome back to my channel. How are you guys doing today? Last week I did this. I'm like, who is this person? I don't know who this person is. But when you click on it, it's like straight to the point.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, now you're sucked in.
Yeah, it's changing though. There's a lady that I saw on YouTube. I think recommended this. I don't know why, but it's interesting. And I've realized I saw her video a couple of days ago, and I've seen a lot of guys in America, especially, doing the same video. It's just a record. There's not. So now there's like there's a rise in the new format of making video. So which is interesting, because I thought it was just.
What do you mean?
So basically, it's just like you just press record and just like, guys, and just talking like normal. You see, like now we're talking, no edits, nothing, and it's got crazy retention. So I thought that was a fluke. Then I watched about 5 more. The guys, I was like, what's going on here? And
So I don't think it's changing.
Okay.
I think those people are just in a specific niche of content.
guess what? They don't talk about anything like key,
I know.
Oh, okay.
Because there's this guy that was trending recently. It's called Sam Sulik. And he does like a lot of like gym videos and workout videos. And the guy just basically just sits down and talks, and the videos gets like 3 million views. But there are so many factors that play into that. The personality, because many people can do that, but it won't work. Trust me, many people will do that, it won't work.
Yeah.
It also depends on the space, the niche the person is. There are so many things. There's this other babe, Life of Riser. Her videos are like properly shot, cinematic. She just makes her videos cinematic, and she just talks about her life, and it gets like really good views. The title of the video can be like, like I
Went to the shop.
Something basic.
Yeah.
Or I don't know if you know Emma Chamberlain.
No.
Oh, Emma Chamberlain is like big.
Oh, really?
She has like 10 million or 12 million subscribers. Okay. Her videos are even worse. She can just name it Paris, or she can just name it I went cooking, or some random ass stuff. She's not going to sit down and analyze, okay, how will I title this video in a way? So there are some people who they are in that space.
Yeah.
But the thing is that you can't just compare yourself and you compare yourself with them. If you try exactly what they're trying, if you don't have the personality to carry it, if you're not making a specific type of content in a specific way, it might not work. And sometimes you can try it and then maybe it works. Because the whole point of YouTube too, another thing too that happens with YouTube is like you just need to make sure one of your like, let's say you want to, let's like this podcast now, for example. All you guys need to make happen is like make sure one does well. Once one does well, if you have 10 episodes, when one does really well, many people will come. Like it will bring in a lot of people, and those people will now go back to watching the old content you guys have made. So if you can do that, that's what happens. So sometimes maybe somebody who makes that simple content, maybe they've had like 5 or 10 other like simple type content they've done. One now goes viral and gets like 1 million views. Then everybody now is like, oh, who's this person? And everybody starts watching.
True.
Yeah.
True.
That is true. Whenever they pop, they do. I don't know, for some reason, it's just been coming on my algorithm, and I just click on it because I'm like, what the heck?
Yeah.
Get it?
Maybe
It's not
that's why it's getting clicked on though, because people are like, "What the heck?"
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
So I'm
yeah,
gonna, as
yeah.
soon as it comes, I know there'll be one tonight. I'll send it to you. I'll just send it to you.
Yeah,
If you care
send
to
it
watch,
to
you
me,
watch. If you
yeah.
don't, that's fine. But it's just very random. But what you said is absolutely true. It's absolutely true. It's probably a lot of things carrying it. It's
Yeah.
just-
Man, I appreciate you coming today.
Thank you.
I
Thank you
was
for
looking
having me.
forward to this all week. Yeah. And yeah, you're absolutely fascinating, and I hope you have so much more success on your channel.
Thank you.
I can't wait for many more stories to come and where you're gonna go. And yeah, I'm just glad that you came through, man. We appreciate
Thank
it.
you for
Thank you
taking
for
time.
having me.
Like, listen, one of the busiest person on this
Yeah, one of the busy people.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for not overthinking it and saying, I don't want to go on there. That's a testament to your character and massive respect. Like I said, for me, respect is on about how people treat you. You don't know me. You have no reason to, you know what I mean? You don't going, oh, but they don't, how many subscribers have they got? I don't want to go there. So thank you. Because
Yeah,
again,
appreciate
guess
it.
what? You've probably going to inspire 20 other people now to be like, you know what? I'm just going to go, man. As long as I have a good conversation or good vibe, I'm there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So thank you so much.
Thanks
Thank
for
you so
having me.
much.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
Thank you.
Go check out Tayo if you haven't. Or you come on, man. You definitely know
Go
him.
check
But
out.
anyways,
No, they might not know me. Oh.
yeah, okay,
Always
maybe.
market. Always
Go
market.
check out
Always
social
market your
media.
shit, man.
Go check him out. We'll
Check
put
out.
the link down below anyway. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the
Thank you,
conversation.
man.
Thank you.
Peace.
Bye.